A very good morning to all. Here I am Kirti and I am Needu. We both take the privilege of comparing this program. The most anxiously awaited occasion is finally here. On this day, we are witnessing a proud moment in the history of Elims Institute of Management Studies. We are very much delighted to offer a hearty welcome to everyone gathered here. TMA Elijah Student Chapter presents the book release and exclusive interview with Sri ACHS Anandaraman, author of the book Stock Market Wisdom, published by Taxman Publication and currently trending Amazon bestseller. I would also like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule and gracing us with your eminent presence. Let's begin the formal session by evoking the blessing of the Lord Almighty. For the same, I invite the bride team, Parvati Priya, Lakshmi, and Srinima.
ഹൃദയരാഗതന്ത്രി മീട്ടി സ്നേഹഗീതമേകിയും കർമ്മഭൂമികളിലിടുന്ന വർണ്ണമേകിയും നമ്മിൽ വാഴുമാതിനാമം എന്നും വാഴ്ത്തിടാം ഞങ്ങൾ പാടുമീ സ്വരങ്ങൾ കീർത്തനങ്ങളാകണേ ചുവടുവയ്ക്കുമീ പദങ്ങൾ നൃത്തലോലമാകണേ കുഞ്ഞു വീടിനുൾത്തടങ്ങൾ സ്വർഗമാകണേ അമ്മ നൽകുമുമ്മ പോലെ അമൃതമാകണേ പൂർണ്ണമീ ചരാചരങ്ങൾ ഗുരുവരങ്ങളാകണേ.
Now, I would like to call upon Amira, third semester MBA, to formally welcome the gathering.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, teaching and non-teaching staffs, my dear friends, morning everyone, and warm greetings to all. With spring in my step, curiosity in my mind, and especially in heart, I, Amira, extend a hearty welcome to all of you. We have gathered here for an auspicious occasion. First of all, I welcome our honorable chief guest, CATS Anandaraman, a person with illuminating knowledge, a person of humility. It's our honor to have a personality like you. Welcome, sir. Next, I welcome the pioneer of Elijah Institute of Management Studies, Sri Junior Piriyan, sir. Welcome, sir. Then I would like to welcome Dr. Xavier, Director of MBA and President of TMA. We all are delighted to have such an eminent person with such good experience to monitor us. Welcome, sir. Then I welcome our Dean, Dr. Abraham B. Malik. Next, I would welcome our Principal, Dr. Andis George. He always gives an consent as well as the complete creative freedom for us. Then I welcome Sri Manoj Kumar M, TMA Student Chapter Convener. Also, I want to welcome our professors. Without them, we are incomplete. Their support is unimaginable, and also my peers to this wonderful gathering. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Have a good time.
Thank you, Amira, for your earnest welcome. Now, I would like to invite a very notable veteran and scholar for excellence, Dr. William Xavier, Director, MBA, for the presidential address, introduction of the chief guest. Sir, please.
Good morning. Chief guest of the day, Chief guest of this day, Professor C.A.T.S. Anandaran, our CEO, Engineer Gino Gideon, Principal Dr. M.S. George, Student Chapter Convener C.A. Manoj Kumar, our Dean, Abraham Bellet, dear faculty members, non-teaching staff, and the brilliant students of Elims Institute of Management Studies. A warm good morning to all of you. Today is a memorable day for Elims Institute of Management Studies because the bestseller book in Amazon, Stock Market Wisdom, written by C.A.T.S. Anandaran. He is personally present here. That is the most important. It's a rare situation that the others come to the politics. So, Elijah is really on when C.A.T.S. Anandaran sir is coming to our institution. In fact, this book was initially launched at TMA Forum. And also he wanted to launch this book in the college level. So he thought he will do this exercise in some universities or some of the colleges. He shared his idea. So I said, no sir, the best place to launch this book is Elijah Institute of Management Studies. Being my teacher, he said, if Xavier says that Elijah is the right place, I will do the releasing of this book in the college level at Elijah Institute of Management Studies. Sir, we are really grateful to you for coming here. C.A.T.S. Anandaran is really a model for you because he is a man of record. He took his CA examination at the age of 19, teenagers. Even today, it's a record in the all India level. After that, he started his career in a college, St. Thomas College, and he was there for a few years. And after that, he went abroad. He was in the UN for some years, United Nations. He has visited nearly 50 countries in the world. A good speaker, good orator, a learned person, and speaks very simple English, but you love to hear that talk. In Thrissur, you find a number of chartered accountants. But I used to ask the chartered accountants, especially young people, how many C.A.T.S. Anandarans are there among you who can influence the people, who can talk to the people? I couldn't see not even one like C.A.T.S. Anandaran. That is C.A.T.S. Anandaran. Manoj sir, am I right? So that is C.A.T.S. Anandaran. And he has got a lot of years' experience in teaching in different universities abroad, in teaching in India, teaching in Kerala, teaching in Thrissur. And after making a lot of money working abroad, he decided, I will not be a servant for the foreigners hereafter. Because here in India, here in Kerala, we have a lot of opportunities. In foreign countries, when you work, on the first day of the month, all the people are very happy, especially those who are working abroad, because they get very good salary. But they are not happy at all, because they don't have the job satisfaction. Anjana sir is very fair person. But in the eyes of the foreigners, he is a black person. When he go to US, when he go to UK, till recently, but now their perception has changed. Now they think we are more intellectual people, so they admit or they recognize us. So in the eyes of foreigners, especially the white people, we are all black, and they consider us as second citizens. Am I right, sir? Now it is changing. Now it is changing. Now they say, "Oh, you are an Indian." This, but earlier Indians were considered to be like the beggars. But now things are changing. So he thought he will not serve the foreigners. He will serve the people of India, people of Kerala, people of Thrissur. Thus he came back to Thrissur, and it was a very ripened period. Indian economy is going to be opened, and in the year we have heard the LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And again, we find by 2000, capital market is getting digitalized. So it was a really good period, and he has landed in Thrissur during the year of 80s, and he was in the capital market. He is really the godfather of the capital market for the people in Thrissur, people of Kerala. He taught many people how to make money, how to create wealth in investing in securities. When you read his book, he is explaining how Manipur has built his own kingdom, or the other banks have created the wealth, and he was in CSB as the chairman, and the CSB was about to merge with some other banks because of his inefficiency. By the time TS Raman has taken the charge of CSB, Ethnicity Bank earlier, now it is known as CSB Bank Limited, and he has made to be one of the best banks in Kerala, best banks in India. The share prices of that bank was around 20, 25, 50, 100. Now its price is about 220 rupees. And the man behind that transformation is none other than CAT. He knows the art of converting companies into a real model for the others. And he is also interested to make a turnaround in our Sushila Ma'am's bank. Now it is quoting around 1450 rupees. But if Anjaram sir touches that bank, he has got lots of shares in that bank. But when he gets an opportunity, I say the LHB bank share will also touch 200 rupees, 300 rupees in the coming years. So it's the right time. I told my students, we are all studying a paper called investment management. You should also start or open a demat account, and one day you can be also a billionaire or billionaire. You need not be a real estate builder, you need not be a gold merchant, you need not be a textile merchant. You can sit at home and you can create books. And he'll tell you, or you read the book, you can understand how wealth can be created. We are studying the subject investment management, we study number of management jargons. We find the CAPM model, Markowitz theory, Elims theory, very complicated things. But when you read this book, you will understand, oh, is it so simple exercise? The easy method of creating wealth. Whenever I get an opportunity, I used to say, C.A.T.S. Sandharaman is the Warren Buffett of this world, or Warren Buffett of Kerala. Because he created the wealth, the main wealth, or say the majority share of his wealth is through the investment in securities. Of course, he is a chartered accountant by profession. He is a partner of the biggest medical distribution companies in Kerala. He's getting a lot of money from that, but maybe 1 crore, 2 crore, or 3 crore maybe the profit is there. But, but from the investment in securities, the sky is the limit. I'm not disclosing what will be his wealth. Once his daughters came, one of the daughters, Divya came to Jamnatai Center. You know, she was the first rank holder globally in the ACC examination. That much brilliant because her father was a chartered accountant at the age of 19. So you can imagine what will be the IQ of his daughter. And I asked, and at that time the CSB was not transferred to the present level. I asked, will you be having, your father will be having around 500 crores? So just a smile only. That means Maunam Sambandham. Yeah, she was supporting that it is around 500 that time. After that, you find the history again. You know, the CSB bank was acquired by the Canadian company, and the price was 1,200 crores, and it is only for 50% of shares. And at one point of time, CATS and his friends were holding more than 50% of the shares of CSB bank. So again, you can imagine what was his share in that takeover. Then again, he was the director of so many banks, so many institutions in India, especially Kitex, one of the leading companies in Kerala. Leading company. He was the director there. He was the founder director of Manappuram Finance, and he was in the medicinal capital market he has started. And that was again taken by, or say, acquired by the India's biggest stockbroking firm, Motilal Oswal, and he is the director of that. And it was for a big amount. And I'm sorry, will not tell you what was the amount for acquiring that medicinal market. So, my dear students, it's a golden opportunity for you to interact with the author who created that. He knows the art of how the fundamental analysis can be done. And he knows the art of how the technical analysis can be done. And we are studying the EIC, economy, industry, company analysis. So he has beautifully explained all these concepts. And also the practical wisdom. Because he was into this capital market for the last 30, 40 years. And you know, my dear students, the wisdom comes from old people. Suppose Madhu sir or myself or Manoj sir write a book now, we are not see such. But he has attempted to write this book at the age of about 70. That is the quality of this book. If you had written this book, say 10 years back, I say that book will not be the bestseller in the market. Because wisdom comes from old people. You mind it. In Japan, when the company forms a board of directors, of course, youngsters are the best, no doubt. But they'll be appointing 1 or 2 old people in that company board of directors. Why? Because wisdom comes from the old people. So, in this book, you can see the wisdom. You can see the wise advices. So, you follow those wise advices. So, tomorrow, you can also become either Warren Buffett or say Yadiraman sir or say BP Nandakumar or say so many models are in Thrissur. Like Bachosai Chitrapalli, like Kalyan Swami, Kalyan Raman, or like B. Ramanandran or Shapa City, PNC Menon. You find a lot of entrepreneurs from Thrissur. Likewise, you can also become an entrepreneur. Not by starting a company, not by starting a active business activity, just by investing in securities. My dear students, I don't want to take much of the valuable time because I'll be here, but Adnan sir will not be here for some hours. So we are always looking for his talk, his wisdom, and we are planning an interview with him. Of course, that will be published. If it is good, that will be published. I promise it will be published in the TMA management voice. Sir, yes, publish something. That interview will be published in the management voice. I promise. So, my dear students, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite our eminent chief guest, Sri CATS Anandaraman, along with our CEO, Engineer Jinu Kurian, and our beloved principal, Dr. Andres George, for the official launch of the book. I request all the dignitaries to join with them. Thank you, sir. Now, I request CA Manoj Kumar, the Student Chapter Convener of Trishul Management Association, for briefing about the student chapter activities. Sir, please.
Good morning. You are very lucky students. When I just entered this campus, I was thinking, where am I? Such a beautiful campus. And when I interacted with Xavier sir, he was telling me about the faculties who is teaching you. Sushila ma'am, Madhu sir, Vijayama sir, Francis sir, and all these things. Your people are really lucky. And now, I am also lucky to sit in the same dais with Anandaraman sir, Xavier sir, and all. Xavier sir is my teacher. Anandaraman sir is Xavier sir's teacher. So 3 generations of students are sitting here. Xavier sir told many things about Anandaraman sir's wealth. I just want to touch upon one thing. The first acknowledgement which Anandaraman sir told in his book was, he is a passionate reader of all the business newspapers as well as the business journals. When I interact with students, the one thing lacking which I saw was the lack of reading in these books, newspaper as well as books. I assure you, reading is not old-fashioned, it is still in prevalence. Please read. And about TMA, I think you all people know about TMA. TMA was started, Trishul Management Association, was started in Trishul in 1990s. Anandaraman sir was a past president. It is affiliated with All India Management Association. So, what is your benefit associating with TMA? I believe you already know. I was there in the day before yesterday's seminar. You people were asking so much questions to our faculty. I was thinking you people are really, because the subject was technical, maritime and successful transformation to digital stories. And you people were asking so much technical questions to the faculty, and he was really impressed with your knowledge. Really hats off to you, and the way you people, the person who welcomed us, the person Swati yesterday called me, all was speaking very confidently. I'm really proud of you. You people will rock. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We will be surely cooperating on the future endeavors of TMA. Now, I request Sri CATS Anandaraman to set for enlightening oration of the budding professionals.
Esteemed principal of the college,
Dr. Angus George, Mr. Jim Korean, Dr. Xavier, Dr. Abraham, Chartered Accountant Manoj, Cost and Management Accountant Mr. Madhu, Dr. Sushila ma'am, my dear students. It's indeed a great honor to be here, I think the third time possibly. There was another occasion when I addressed you through the Zoom also, that was just a few months back. I've enjoyed every time I come here, I've enjoyed being with all of you, and I look forward to coming here again if there's any chance of getting invited. This book was released a few days back in an unbelievable gathering of Churchill Management Association where probably for the first time the 5 heads of banks assembled on the stage. The Managing Director of South Indian Bank, the Managing Director of CSB Bank, the Director running Catholic Syrian Bank, Dhanlakshmi Bank, the MD of Manappuram Finance, the founder and MD of SF Bank. All these 5 people were on the stage at the same time, thanks to you and Dr. Xavier. It's very unusual, galaxy of top bankers in one stage. It was released there, but I always wanted the book to be released in a student gathering. Because in my heart of hearts, although presently I am in business, my heart is with students and I enjoy the interaction. Anytime I have it with the students, that's the best day of that time. That's how I've always felt that. So I was interacting with Xavier. I'd love to release it, open it sometime with a student gathering. And what other place than Elijah Institute where Dr. Xavier is very much involved. And I'm really happy that I made the decision to spend and share some time with all of you. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful words, Xavier. Every time I see you, you make my day and make me feel like doing more. Regarding the wealth part, leave that for a minute. Dr. Xavier is a very nice well-wisher of mine, so probably sometimes he adds a few zeros to the wealth. But I can only tell you, God has been very kind with me. Let me only put it that way. Money is not a matter that figures in our scheme of things or discussion, probably because one, we have made reasonably some money, and secondly, the importance of money in our scheme of things now is very much 4th or 5th. Health and so many other things take the priority. So thank you, Xavier, for the wonderful words. Please remember, remove a few zeros. So about the book. It was a 5-year work. The book looks very small, but you will realize you start writing of your own. Many of you are going to be writers in journals, magazines, newspapers, books, or whatever it is. You will realize that the output might look very small, but this is not a work involved, especially if you want to make it an original work. My book is not an academic publication. It doesn't talk about what is a share, what is a debenture, what is a convertible debenture, what is a stock exchange. No, it doesn't talk about that. It talks about, as Dr. Xavier rightly mentioned, how to create wealth, how to understand the stock market really, the operation of the stock market, how to work in the stock market and generate income, wealth, resources, how to analyze a company. This is a very, very practical approach. If you will see the book, The name of the book is Stock Market Wisdom. Below that, there is a sentence saying, learnings from a lifetime in capital market. Learnings from a lifetime in capital market. I've been an investor for more than 40 years now. The entire journey of 40 years, very exciting journey. I put the learnings from that into. That is very, it's a bit different from, there are hundreds of books available. If you go through Amazon, you will find so many books available on the capital market. But this is from the practical experience. And how did it start? I was on a holiday in Kodaikanal with my elder brother. His name is Patakaram. I dedicated the book to him. He was my elder brother. He's noble, just passed away recently, a year back. He is a IIT graduate and an IIM postgraduate. He was chairman of the National Bank as well. So when we were together, just only the two of us on a holiday, he was telling me, brother, you have worked in industry, you have worked in stock markets. I have run the Kochi Stock Exchange for 2 years. I was involved in the highest policy-making body of the National Stock Exchange for 2 years. I've been director of a number of companies. I'm a very active investor. I've been an investment consultant. I have run a stockbroking company, one of the largest in the country. In the background of all these things, I have been writing. For example, Malayalam Manorama I wrote for 15 years, a column called Oh Haribaran. That was the first column in Malayalam newspaper on stock market. 15 years I wrote that column. So with all these things, why don't you put your experience in writing? Till that time, I never thought of writing a book because writing a book was the last thing in my mind. He mentioned that and I started working on it. But it took such a long time and I almost gave up because getting the thing published and all is not an easy job. I almost gave up, but in between, my wife sometimes prompted me, but finally it was my daughter, about whom Dr. Xavier referred to you. She's a chartered accountant as well as a PhD in accounting from Columbia University, one of the world's topmost universities. And she's a professor of accounting in one of the topmost universities in America. So she came in and said, Dad, you have worked so hard, let's finish it. So she lent me some support towards the end, and so you have the product here. So I'm very happy that I could get it published through one of the finest publishers in the country, Taxman. And by God's grace and the grace of all my good friends, it has become one of the best sellers. I'm told in the digital media it was at one time the highest selling book in the country. That's what my publisher told me. Honestly, I did not know. I had no figures. This is what the managing director of the publisher called me one day and told me this because I'm not too much into digital media. That is your area. We are more, if I want to think of anything, I want a paper and a pen. Without that, my brain doesn't work. Whereas I think your brain, probably the brain of the next generation, like maybe Madhu or Manoj who works with a computer, and your brain works with a mobile phone, I think. Whereas my brain works with paper and a pen. So this was told to me by the publisher anyway. Those are secondary, as in Bhagavad Gita they say, Karma Nevadikaraste Mahaveshukadasana. That means your job is to do the work, results, let it for whatever it is. If it sells very well, of course, it gives me immense happiness, but I consider my duty as putting the experiences of a lifetime into writing so that it definitely becomes some guide, some benefit to the posterity, the coming generation, that is people like you. So that's my job. Now, why I wanted to talk to a batch of students, there's a particular reason for it. You may buy it, you may not buy it, that's a secondary thing. The reason is, especially MBA students, your future, to a very large extent, is connected to the stock market. Stock market offers to you exceptional career opportunities. Exceptional opportunities. Some of you may not be familiar. because in a small town like Trichy, stock market, your only exposure to the stock market may be some tickers on the TV screen and some broking houses, some people who talk about trades. That may be only the exposure. But stock market is a very large area. It consists of stockbrokers, sub-brokers, investment consultants, mutual funds, investment bankers, even the banking, financial, insurance, all these sectors are intimately and integrated to the stock market system. So your life is very much part of it. When you go for an interview, for a job, executive, senior level jobs, I have interviewed hundreds, maybe even thousands of jobs at higher levels. For recruitment abroad, my brother runs a very large accounting firm. He employs about 100 chartered accountants abroad from various countries. I used to recruit for him, even for some other institutions for foreign placements, as well as very many companies in India. I have been had a great fortune of sitting on the interview board at the final stage, not at the initial stage, at the final stage. Even in my bank, when we recruited chartered accountants, senior managers, cost accountants, company secretaries, final level interview, I personally used to conduct that interview. So when you come for such an interview, we don't ask you, for example, what is the break-even point or how do you arrive at that? None of those textbook questions, because examiners have asked you such questions, you have answered them, some eminent person has marked it, and the university has granted you the degree or diploma, whatever it is. So I don't have to go into basic textbook questions. But I'd certainly be asking you, what is the latest development in the capital market? Which is the largest merger that you found in recent times? Questions which are very practical. That's the type of things that we are going to ask you. I'm talking about this executive position. If you go for a clerical job, maybe we may not ask you, but I don't expect any of you to be in that level. I expect all of you to be executives, senior managers, and entrepreneurs. So if you want to be in that bracket, you should have an intimate knowledge, understanding of how the capital market, the stock market, the investment horizon, the entire thing, how does it look like? How does it move? What are the integral aspects of that? How does it function? How do you choose, pick? What's a portfolio? How do you manage it? What is this investment versus trading? Or what is the importance of price earning multiple? All of these types of concepts you should have a very clear understanding. Without that, you go for an interview, you won't last 2 minutes in front of me. Let me tell you very frankly. That means you should be reading the business newspapers, business journals, and current developments. You should be very well aware. That's what I have been trying to aim at in this book. That's the reason why I requested Dr. Xavier that I would like to present this in front of an audience where management students attend. That's the main reason why I'm here, and Dr. Xavier and all the people associated with the institution, thank you very much for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to present this thing and interact with my students like you. So I think I was asked to speak only about 10-15 minutes. I have taken my time. Lots I could talk to you about so many things. One or two things let me tell you and sit back. You can ask questions later on. So in a place like Kerala especially, when you talk about investments, I mean, many people even today don't understand the distinction between income and wealth. I've been talking to so many people in my life because I run a business with almost more than 100,000 investors. My stockbroking company is one of the largest in the country. So I've interacted with so many of people of different types, And I used to ask this question, very few understand how does income result in wealth? Income, investment, savings, investments, wealth. This, the way it moves around, very few people understand. But our people, investment means real estate, mainly land and gold. I have nothing against gold. It is appreciated well. And I'm a director of one of the largest gold companies, that is Kalyan Jewelers, which is going for a public issue maybe next month, a month after that. I'm a director there, so I have nothing against gold. But you should be able to think beyond that. Things like stock market and so many other things. This is another reason why I thought I should tell you this message and the importance of a publication like this. So, with these few words, I would leave it for a while because I was told there's going to be an interview. So, I look forward to questions from you, and I'll be very delighted to answer them as much as I can. Thank you very much for your very patient listening. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, all the senior people from the Management Institute here who are present for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your great plethora of knowledge to the young minds present here. Now to commence the most awaited talk show. I request all the dignitaries other than our chief guest to please step off the dais momentarily. I welcome Smita Chandran of third semester MBA and Anjali of first semester MBA for the interview of our Honorable Chief Guest, Sri CATS Anandana.
Hi, good morning all. I'm Smita. I'm Anjali. We are blessed and happy to conduct an exclusive talk show with our eminent guest, Sri CATS Anandaraman sir, who is a person with charismatic charm and personal insignia. Good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
Good pleasure to have you. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you, sir. Without further ado, with your permission, can we start, sir?
My pleasure to be here and delighted to be part of this mission.
Thank you, sir. My first question is an obvious one. How did you enter the world of investing?
Yes, it's a very broad question. Investment comes as a result of savings. It starts with your income. From the income, you spend money for your essential requirements or comforts or luxuries, as depending upon your type of income. Then, what is the balance of your income after your expense is what we call savings. And savings, when you put into identified places, is what we call investments. So, investments is an item that creates your wealth. Wealth gives you that nice, comfortable feeling, especially when you become aged. even for everybody, of course, it's more important when you become old. So wealth generation comes out of investments. Now, the earlier you start the investment journey, the better. And although you're not asked, let me tell you, add this one. When you talk about investments, there are many people who immediately react by saying, where is the money to invest? At my income level, there is nothing left. That's a completely wrong approach. It is a way of thinking, an attitude. You can invest with an income of 1,000 rupees a month, and you can say you have no surplus with 1,000,000 rupees income a month. You can say you have no money to invest. Depends on how you make up your mind, your attitude, your approach to life.
So next, I would like to know what is like a day in the world of investors and what's your personal success mantra
What is a day?
in the life of an investor?
Success mantra in investment, let me take that first. Investment, when you do that, there are a few fundamental aspects. The most important thing possibly is your return. When you talk about return, you immediately think about the risk. Risk and reward, they go side by side. You take bigger risk, there will be bigger reward. You take less risk, there will be less reward. So they go together. So return with an eye on the risk that you are taking, then the stability and sustainability of the return, the visibility, how long are you going to get that return? That is another aspect. The taxation, how much tax is a factor of life, whether one likes it or not. If you get income, you're going to pay tax. There are certain investments, rewards which are less taxed, which are more taxed, so that is another aspect. And I think these are the basic things: your return, the risk involved, the sustainability of the thing, as well as the taxation impact. These are all the various aspects which guide your investment outlook. And what is the first part? The
What's like a day in the world of investing?
day, yeah, for me, if you ask my example, I look forward to a Monday than a Saturday. Because on Monday, the action starts. So I switch on the TV, and for me, anything and everything that takes place in the world excites me. If there is a trade agreement between Brazil and America, I immediately think, oh, that could be that means a lot of fight going on, this item, factories there. Each and everything. There is a flood in an area, my brain starts working on what is the impact of that flood. Thing like COVID, of course, is a once in a century thing, which makes us think so much. So that way, a day for us starts with a lot of excitement. We want to know what all things happened the day before. On the basis of that, how to evaluate each and every investment option. We take a decision, we proceed with that day. It's very an exciting day, except weekends and holidays. For me, life is very exciting.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to know whom is your mentor in the stock world?
See, when we started investments, I started investments in the early 70s, mid 70s. At that time, the stock market in India was practically non-existent. The stock market in India had the initial impetus by mid 80s when we had this ministry with VP Singh as a finance minister, Rajiv Gandhi as the prime minister. That was the first time the stock market started getting some momentum. That is 1985. Then there was a lull for a few years. But after that, in the 90s, we had a very serious crisis in this country, what Professor Xavier referred to as LPG and things like that. And that crisis gave rise to a great opportunity. Every crisis, the smart guys convert a crisis into an opportunity. So that was converted by country by a smart packaging by the then Prime Minister, Mr. Narasimha, with an incredible team of Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, Commerce Minister Mr. Chidambaram. They converted that crisis into an opportunity and then started the real journey of the stock market. So initial days there was practically no material available, but because my education was, I was a chartered accountant, so that gave me more ideas about the markets, stocks, how to evaluate them and all that. But still the opportunities were very limited, and as they said, there was one more small problem. There was no money available in those days. So question of investment is secondary. But as time passed on, opportunity, the markets opened up after 1991. The local press, the Malayalam press, even English newspaper, there was very little coverage on the market till the early 90s. Then small coverage started. As I mentioned to you, in the Malayalam newspaper, I had the great opportunity of writing the first column on stock market in Malayalam Manorama. So, like that, now you find coverage about stock market almost a half a page to a full page in Malayalam newspaper. There are newspapers in English devoted to business, mainly from the market angle. There are tremendous amount of journals available exclusively devoted to the market and economy. So today the opportunities are much better. Our markets are opened up. We can compete with the best market in the world. In fact, our regulator, SEBI, is considered to be one of the world's finest quality regulator. So from a very, very non-existent to a very small start, today we have reached a stage where we are considered to be a model, not only for the emerging countries, even the developed markets of the West. Look forward to the quality of the markets in India.
So next question. How do great traders go about finding their approach to the markets and what sets them apart from the other normal traders?
Day trading, right? Yeah, day trading is a very integral part of the stock market system. There are some people who consider them as speculators, as people who manipulate the markets. There's a wrong idea in the minds of many people, a misconception that stock market is like a casino. In fact, some of my friends ask me, when are you go to the casino? I ask them, what did you mean? Oh, I mean the stock market, because it's a casino. That's a completely wrong understanding of that. That is because day traders quickly buy and sell. So very quickly do buying and selling, they relate it to a casino where you quickly make money, lose money. They're completely different. Day trading is a very important aspect of stock market. They give liquidity to the markets. Anytime an investor wants to buy or sell a share, if there are no day traders, there may be no sellers in the market, there may be no buyers in the market. So the liquidity is provided by day traders. And what is day traders? They keep buying and selling. Now there are day traders who come to the market with no idea. They're just coming there just for the kick of it to make some quick money and all that. I have seen customers in my own office who come to the office and say, buy 500 ITC. It's a share. Then somebody says, ITC, it's not a good share. Then he says, sell 500 ITC. So, such people lose their money, lose their balance, and bring a bad name to the market. Day trading is a very intense activity, and it requires a good understanding of what we call technical analysis. Technical analysis is a study of the market movements, price movements, time movements, fluctuations in the market, volume, and things like that. It's a study of as a scientific study. If you understand technical analysis and come to the stock market with an idea of day trading and keep your stop losses and come with some understanding of how day trading is to be done, I would say it's a very good activity. You can make good money. You provide an important economic activity and you provide liquidity to the market, which is essential to attract investors into the market.
Is there anything you find particularly challenging in navigating the gains and pains of investing in stocks?
Gains and pains.
Yes.
Yes. Stock market is a great place for people who come with seriousness. You should have a plan. When you come to the stock market, you should know why you are coming to the market. Is it to make a long-term return over a period of time? Is it to make a short-term return? Is it to get dividends, or is it a combination of some dividend income, some capital gains? How much is the money that you want to invest into the market? When do you want the return? Are you coming for a short term? You have fixed your daughter's marriage after 6 months, or you plan to build a house in 1 year, you got some money with you, that means a short term. If you come to the market with a clarity of mind, I think that's a very good place to be. If you come there with a very casual approach, just because your neighbor told you that it's a good place, or somebody in the train you met told you that I have made so much money in the market, if you come with a random approach, with a casual approach, it can be very dangerous, it can give you a lot of trouble. But if you are a reasonably long-term investor, coming to the market with a reasonable scheme of in your mind, with a bit of reading, discussion, and things like that, I think there is a lot of gain. Otherwise, it could be big pain.
So, is there any particular investment tactics which you prefer or which you practice in your daily life?
Yes, certainly, lots. I have written in great detail in the book. I hope you'll have a chance to read it sometime. One or two points that comes to my mind straight away is when you come to the market, come with a long-term view. Don't come with a very short-term view, 3 months, 6 months. All right, nothing wrong in coming with a short-term view. Then look at the technicals of the market, technical analysis. But people who come to the market with a medium to long-term, 1, 3, 5, 10, 20 years, they make tremendous amount of wealth. The type of wealth that the stock market is given is unbelievable. Just to give you one example, any person who had invested in this iconic company called Infosys, they came out of their public issue in 1993 at 95 rupees. At that time, it was not fully subscribed. So that means it was an ordinary company at that time, 95 rupees if you had got 100 shares. In 93, that was 27 years, not a short period. Today it will be 1,08,000 shares, and the price today is 1,300. That means you will be having 14 crores, 9,500 rupees will be 14 crores today approximately, and you will get about 24 rupees dividend. That means 24 lakhs dividend every year. Total investment 9,500 crores, 9,500 rupees. So that is, so first you have to be a long-term investor. Then you have to have clarity of mind, how much money you have invest. Don't get tempted to just be rash into the market investment. These are the points.
Sir, I would like to know if a newbie investor walked up to you and asked you for a few minutes for any tip, what would be that you would give to him, the best tip?
Yeah. If somebody walks into me asking me as some money to invest, what should I do? In fact, every day somebody walks into me like that. It's not an exaggeration to say almost every day people come in. I would ask him a few questions before I take his money. How much time do you have with you? What is your intention to be in the market? Is it to get a steady return? Is it to get a capital appreciation after a period of time? A few questions like that. And if it is a completely new person who has no exposure to the market, who has no understanding about the market functioning, and he has no time to study, I would suggest some good mutual funds. But if he says, no, I want some shares only. Mutual funds means somebody else manages. I would like to do the management myself, but I have no time, no understanding. I immediately prescribe some high quality, large cap shares where you cannot normally go wrong. A large cap share and index share means people do a lot of research on that. Nothing much wrong can happen with it. I will ask him to buy something as an Infosys or a Reliance or some of these large cap Hindustan Lever or shares of that type, Nestle and all that, because 10, 12, 15% return you can get for any period of time. But if you have time, if you have some understanding, if you have some willingness, and a bit of passion to spend a bit of time and study it, then I will tell him have a mix. Some large cap, some mid cap, some small caps. Because over a period of time, mid caps and small caps have a chance of giving you a slightly higher return, but you've got to spend a bit more time studying them. If you don't have that willingness, aptitude, or passion, either go for a mutual fund or some quality large cap shares. This would be very nice.
So, do you think financial literacy plays important role in the pattern of individual investment?
Yeah, surprisingly, financial literacy is not seen with many people. But the other most surprising thing is, I have two daughters, both of them are in United States. And I tell them that, many people here don't have an understanding about finance and its management. They tell me that the story is same even in America. So that's a universal thing. Now, I entirely agree with you. Financial literacy is very much absent in a big majority of people. I really do not know. I think it should be an essential study in early part of life, just like we study basics of science and geography and all that. I think financial literacy should be what is a bank account? What are the different types of bank accounts? What is the stock market? What is a mutual fund? What is the importance of starting to invest in some of these things early in life rather than starting it when you are about to retire? Because the principle of compounding works amazingly when you start investing early in your life. So financial literacy is very, very important. Earlier you start, much better it is.
As you have played a pioneering role in the Indian stock market, how do you respond to the COVID crisis and how will India's solo story stack up to the reforms front day today?
See, for seasoned investors in the market, when I say this, many will be surprised when I say this, but it is true. For a person who has been in the market for a very long period of time, any such crisis, please understand, I am not talking about the human cost. I'm talking about the financial side. Any crisis like COVID is a great opportunity for wealth creation. Because when a crisis strikes, people panic. Very normal. very natural. People panic. And every time people feel this crisis is different from others. Oh, this is terrible. When are we going to recover? People in panic sell everything at whatever price they can. They call the stockbroker's office and say, sell my portfolio. Sell at what price? Forget about price, what about price? This is a common reaction, what we call the knee-jerk reaction. But seasoned investors, what they do, they wait. When a crisis strikes, panic strikes. When panic strikes, people react in a very, very unexpected manner. So we don't enter and start buying on the first day. We wait for the panic to fully unfold in front of you. It might take 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. The market will hit the downward filter. You wait for that when you feel reasonably certain that the prices of shares have come to a level where it is extremely attractive. For example, there are some companies in times of COVID crisis or any crisis where the market value of the company will be less than the net cash available in their bank account. The market value falls below that. Does it make any sense? It doesn't. But people simply throw and want to run. So seasoned investors make use of crisis as an opportunity, wait for the right time, and once they feel its impact has been fully felt in the market, they enter the market and buy. For example, at the time of this COVID crisis, I had lectures given in GMA, so many places where I said, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Enter it. And if somebody had invested in end of March, early April, he would have doubled his investment in the last 8-9 months. But when you fish in troubled waters, you should realize that you are entering a risky territory. You should have that aptitude for risk. If you are a very safe player, you don't want to take any risk in life, you don't want to lose money at all, then such times you should be extremely careful. Maybe you can invest some 10-15% of your money and wait for the crisis to play out and start improving. Till that time, you hang on, but your returns will be less. So it's your risk tolerance ability, your ability to understand risk, withstand the negative aspect of risk. If you have that, and opportunity. Otherwise,
So do you think it's an opportunity which made Nifty 50 recovered and reached to the all-time high of 14K from 50% low in the last December? From March to December, there was a large variation. And is this the reason? Is the opportunity the reason why the Nifty 50 recovered?
yeah, see, um, it requires a bit more detailed analysis. Let me try to put it as simple as possible. COVID is as Nicholas Taleb said, it's a black swan event. It comes once in a lifetime. Right? It's not a regular thing. If it's a structural issue, like economy steadily going down, reaching a stage where it's impossible to recover, like some countries in South America, like some certain countries in Africa, very few number, many countries in Africa are doing very well. So some of those structural stories you see, especially in South America, that's a different type of thing. But COVID is a one-time event. It's a health hazard. And scientific advancements have come to such a level where we are very confident that a vaccine will be found. It might take 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 1.5, 2 years. But with that, it will be over. So in such a time, you should have the wisdom to say that there is no structural issue. It's only a one-time issue. There has been so many such instances in the past where it will pass out, normalcy will be returned. So when markets collapse by 40%, you should realize that this is the time for me to take a little risk. So that is how you should be able to look at it. If it's a structural story where demand is steadily going down, there's a deep recession which is deepening by the day, and things like that, then you should be more careful. But this is a one-time that strikes with a vaccine that will be negated, we're back to normalcy. So such opportunities can be great for us.
So, according to you, how did Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan and the eco-friendly reforms affected the individual investment pattern of our country?
Yes. See, these are all slogans coined by politicians. So I have nothing against them. See, our esteemed Prime Minister Modi is adding a touch of patriotism with Atmanirbhar. A pure economist might say that is it becoming a bit protectionist? Are we raising the artificial barriers to trade by increasing customs duty and things like that? Are we blocking the import of technology and goods from outside? Such questions are being asked by some renowned economists. If so, if there's an intention to so-called protect our industries from the competition from abroad, it might do some short-term gain, but it will result in long-term pain. Because the world is one big market. Technology is a great leveler. In the pre-technology, I can't say that way. When technology is advancing the way it is, the world is one marketplace. Can you stop Google or Amazon or Apple or Netflix from any part of the world? So they look at the world as one opportunity. In such a time, you have to be competitive. Your competitive ability should be as good as the best in the world. So if you artificially create barriers, talking about more of patriotism and protecting local industries and all, that's a double-edged sword. You have to be very, very careful. Now, this is not happening only in India. Even in America, President Trump wanted to sort of protect America from the competition from China and other places. It's a double-edged sword. It might do some temporary gain, but in the long term, you've got to be competitive. You've got to have the latest in technology, latest in technical education, equip yourself to face the world on equal terms. Only that will take you to the next level, create real wealth, improve standard. So this time there are various interpretations, but I would interpret Atmanirbhar as giving a boost to local entrepreneurship without creating artificial barriers. If that is the real meaning of Atmanirbhar, which I think it is, it should be done.
So, from an investor's point of view, what can be expected from the upcoming Union Budget 2021 from our Honorable Finance Minister?
See, there was a time about 10 years back when we used to celebrate budgets. TVs and newspapers give big headings, and we used to have TV shows, discussions. I would have participated, I do not know in how many TV shows and discussions, and all the leading newspapers, all leading channels get a hundred of people. It used to be celebrated as a big event. But those days are gone. Now we have reasonably stable policies of the government. Earlier, maybe many of you are not born those days, every budget will increase excess duties for certain products, decrease excess duties, increase customs duties, decrease customs duties for some other products, change income tax rates. Everything used to be tinkered around just to satisfy some lobby or the other. But those were the days when India was, I would say, totally underdeveloped economy. But the last about, I would say, 20, 30 years, we have increasingly integrated our economy. It was an insulated economy. From insulated, we have moved towards an integrated economy. Now we are very much part of the world. There was a time when gold price abroad goes up, our gold price will go up. But when gold price abroad goes down, then also our price will go up. It is not connected. It's completely different. Those days are gone. Now we are a very important player in the world stage. We are very much integrated to the world economy and we have got stable economic policies. We have a GST regime which fixes all indirect tax rates. That has been practically removed from the union budget. A GST council decides the indirect tax rates. Income tax rates, corporate tax rates have been stable for many, many years. It is tinkered around maybe once in 5 years or once in 10 years. So the big excitement that used to be associated with the budget is no longer there. Last few years we have not seen that. But still the media, still they don't want to leave the big moment that they get. So this still they make some big headlines. But I would say relatively budget is no longer big news. It is more a policy statement of the government rather than playing around with tax rates and things like that. So I would say it is relatively less. Still, for a country like India, it is still somewhat important. And we look forward to that, especially in times like after COVID, what direction the government is taking. Are they going to be very bold? Are they going to be very much pro-reform? Or are they going to be a bit withdrawn, a bit defensive? That type of broad policy making comes out in the budget document. So we look forward to that. In a developed economy like United States or Europe and all, where I had the chance to work some of my time, an ordinary man does not know when the budget is being presented, which day the budget is presented, what is there in the budget, nobody really knows. We may be still moving in that direction, but today it is still an important thing.
So, as you know, there are more implementation in the stock market or investing world. We know that a bit later, earlier, there was GST, and some of them done that there were benefits from GST and there were losses or they affected negatively in the stock market or investing world. According to you, would you like any reform to be implemented in the investing world?
Reform is a continuous process. It is essential in a modern state. Without continuous reforms, no country can properly survive. Referring to GST, GST was probably one of the biggest reform item in independent India. Since we got independence in 1947, we have charted our own path for development, and GST has been a milestone. It did away with about 35 or about 40 taxes in India, integrated into one country, one tax. Now, in its implementation, please understand, even in very small countries, I've seen GST being implemented in very small economies where I had the chance to work. Even there are complications. But here, it's so much of diversity, changes, different types of tax systems. It's a massive job. There has been a bit of mess, but on the whole, I would say it has been a tremendous item of reform. And it will definitely increase the GDP of the country by, as many economists say, at least by 1%. The GST will contribute to because free movement of goods and services and all those kinds of things. The difficult part is practically over. The shortcomings have been rectified, and I think we are going to start seeing the benefits of GST in the coming years.
So, would you like to make any reforms? According to you, there are any changes to be made in the prevailing laws in the stock market or investing world?
That is a continuous thing. The minute you stop reforming yourself, you are dead. So we are living in a very dynamic world where, as we always say, change is the only constant. And I would say, as management students, managing change is the biggest lesson for you. You should be able to absorb, accept, adopt the changes if you want to succeed. So there are students, especially in my course that I studied accounting. The exam is said to be so tough that there are many who say, after the exam, I'll throw the books and stop reading. That's immediate feeling because it's so difficult. If you stop reading, if you stop understanding, you are finished. You know, there's a very important saying by the world's best known futurologist that the illiterates of the 21st century will be those who do not, the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. It will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. If you cannot learn, forget about what you have learned, and again learn the new things. You will be called an illiterate. You will be called irrelevant to the world. So reform is something which is a change from the accepted, adopted pattern which you are used to. That is what we call a reform. That should be a continuous process. The minute you stop reforming, you are finished. We are luckily very much about reform these days. And we are studying what is happening in the other parts of the world, successful models, and we have a very pro-reform type of government now.
So, according to you, which markets will be headed in 2021?
Which
Markets.
markets? Do you mean which sectors of the economy or the Indian market will definitely do very well because we have an aspiring young population which is aspiring for better quality goods, more quality goods, young population. So India will be the market to look forward to. You go to Japan, which is a very developed country. The majority of population is very old. It's about 55, 60. Whereas in India, the big majority of population is below 30. They are all the aspiring, young, demanding population. So because of that type of thing in India, the whole world looks forward to India because of its demography, as they say. Our Prime Minister makes it a point to say, wherever he addresses, he goes to different parts of the world and addresses the Indian diaspora in a big way. He talks about democracy, demography, and demand. Demography is the young people that we have. So I think the Indian market will be the one that the whole world is looking at. There is a surplus of liquidity in the whole world, especially in developed world, the so-called Europe, America, Japan, and all that. They have put in so much of money. They are looking for a place to invest, good place to invest. Very few such places, and they have identified India as probably the best place to invest. So, the Indian market. Many of my friends ask me, I have access to investing in different parts of the world. Where do you invest? Many people ask me. I say I invest only in India because of its population, the aspiring young people, and 6 to 8% growth level that we have been registering. This is the place to invest.
So, coming to the sectors, pharma sector has been a rank-out performer. And do you believe there is more steam in the pharma sector?
Very much. That's a sector very close to me because my business is pharma oriented, so I can speak with more authority there. India is said to be the back office of the world because all the top Fortune 500 companies in the world, they have their back office fixed in India thanks to our very good understanding of technology. We have the world's probably the best brains on software. Whole world looks to India. So we were considered to be the back office in the world. But of late, especially after COVID, The world calls India as the pharmacy of the world. We have got exceptional capacity in complex generics, in complicated chemistry. The whole world says Indians are the best in the world. So that way, the pharmaceutical sector, it's a sector which can be developed for the whole world very easily. And we have shown our ability in replicating the very difficult formulation that they have made outside in the world. So with our demonstration of that and so many other things, the whole world looks to India. The Serum Institute in Pune is said to be the world's largest vaccine maker. I think about 60% of the world's capacity is this one company. Like that, any number of sectors we talk about APIs or any of those things, I think India is leading the world. We already have a leadership position. COVID cemented our leadership. In the days to come, I think pharma will be one of the leaders from this country.
As we are going to enter time, so I would like to conclude with my last question. As we know that Mongolian was the one of the most prominent thing that other world, global world, look into our Indian market. Likewise, do you think Covaxin will create a history in the creation of vaccine for the global market, or they create a center for our market? They get an attention from the global market. Do you think so?
You're talking about the vaccine?
Yes, sir. Covaxin.
Yes. No, undoubtedly, see, I mentioned about Serum Institute as the world's largest vaccine maker. Now, this company in Hyderabad, based company called Bharat Bio, they have developed their own vaccine. Serum Institute is the largest manufacturer, but we have shown that there are Indian companies who can conceive the idea from the very basic stage and fully develop it for the world. And one more company in Trichy, where the person based in Trichy, his product for vaccine is entering stage 3 trials. He has got approval in stage 2, is entering stage 3 trial. And I'm told multinational companies are chasing him for licensing agreements. So, undoubtedly, India has been, would continue, and I think will be a bigger leader in the world of vaccine. No doubt about that.
Thank you, sir. Gracing us with your greatest insight and plethora of knowledge. Once again, thank you all. Thank you, sir.
I just enjoyed the discussion. I think you have prepared yourself very well. Thanks for your very interesting questions.
Thank you, sir. It was really an inspiring conversation. Now, to begin the interactive session, I request the audience to ask questions if they need. Audience, over to you. Please make use of this opportunity to clear your queries. I request
Sir, good afternoon, sir. My name is Nikita, third semester MBA. My question is, which according to you is the most reliable strategy for the intraday trading? Which are the indicators that can be paired with that strategy?
Very broad question. I can only say when you go for intraday trading, we should have a decent understanding of technical analysis. Mainly, what is the support levels, what is the resistance level for that, and is it a very active script? Don't enter day trading with inactive or where volumes are not very large. Don't enter such scripts. Enter very active scripts. Understanding of this, basic understanding of moving averages. If you have these, basically, I think, and you have got to fix stop losses. Without a stop loss, any intraday trader will be finished in no time. So have your price targets, have your profit targets. When you get them, exit. Book your losses. At the end of the day, if you are an intraday trader, you should not carry any positions unless you are provided for it in your scheme of things. I know probably Kerala's best, most successful intraday trader. I know him very intimately. So he has made so much money and he is so much known in the market. I have some customers who ask me, sir, can we sit near to him and do exactly what he does so that we can also make money? I said, okay, you can try. So sometimes they sit near him, he will buy 10,000 reliance, they will buy 100 because their money is limited. And he will sell, they will also sell. At the end, they think they are doing exactly what he does so that they can make some money. At the end of the day, this my friend would have made 2 lakhs, and you see the other person, he would have made 10,000 loss. How it happens? The way he books losses. Sometimes when he buys a share for 100 and it goes to 98, even about 10,000 shares, he sells the 10,000. He books 20,000 rupees loss. The person sitting next to him, he says 98 to go up above 100. I'll just wait for a minute. Then it goes to 97, 96. It sometimes falls. So when you do intraday trading, you have to follow the principles of intraday trading. Support level, resistance level, moving averages, stop losses. These things have to be very clearly understood and followed scrupulously without any compromise. And at the end of the day, it is 0 positions. Unless you have a strategy to carry it forward on the derivatives trading, futures and options trading and things like that, then it's okay. That's a different ballgame. So without this clarity of mind, don't ever do it. If with those things you do it, you can be tremendous success. There are many people I know who make a living out of that, who have made millions, hundreds of crores in trading.
Good morning, sir. I'm Anita. My question is, do you think there is a particular time to research on stock while doing intraday trading?
Intraday trading, people don't do too much of research or study into the type of share it is. No. They don't want to know what the company even produces, what's the size of the company, nature of the company. Nothing is relevant because for intraday traders, every known information is already reflected in the price. An investor, a long-term investor, I'm basically a long-term investor, I go into the depth of the company. I try to see where there is value, what is called the margin of safety and things like that. Then only I buy a share. What is the future potential, price trends of the product, international movements, changes in technology, all these types of things, all published information we try to absorb, understand, and see if the price is worthwhile to buy. That is a value investor, long-term investor. A short-term investor, that's as you see, the day trader, he is not interested in any of these. He does a lot of research on price, volume, movements, moving averages. These are the type of things that he studies. Not what the company does, what's the production capacity, price of the company in the world, none of those things are relevant. Because they sincerely believe that every available information about their company is already reflected in the price. That's what they believe. So their research is only these things: price, volume, movements, and these various levels. That's all what they want. So on that, they do a lot of work. Yes.
Thank you, sir. My next question is there any tool to find out breakout stocks?
Plenty. See, I think a forum like this, if I go into various strategies, that may not be the appropriate forum, but I can only tell you, yes, there are very clear techniques available to know when there is a price breakout, when there is a price congestion and it is struggling in within a range and then it breaks out either upward or downward. There are very clear tools available in technical analysis. I think you should go into them. If I start explaining them, I think that will be a more specific, detailed analysis. Probably we can do it as something else. But there are very clear tools available for technical analysis. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
And I would say even a value investor should go into some of those breakouts because a value investor or a long-term investor is not investing for the day or the week, but he would make more money when he watches a price trend and waits for the price to break out. Then probably it may assist him in taking the decision of when to invest. Although we generally say time in the market, not timing the market. Time, how much time you spend in the market is more important. Anyway, that's a more detailed analysis.
Thank you, sir.
Hi sir, my name is Alicia. My question is, how do we find the entry and exit points in a trade? What are the important cues to look out for?
Again, that I think is a more detailed analysis. I'm a bit amused that all the questions are on technical analysis. I think here people would prefer day trading than investment, long-term investment. I'm a supporter of long-term investment, where you should go into the fundamental analysis and then do that. But all the questions are related to day trading. Nothing wrong. I mean, that's an equally important aspect of stock trading. Different techniques and things like that. Would you like me to explain now? Would it not take a bit more time? So you should watch the price trends, the price movements and the moving averages, and you will get very clear signs of breakouts. Upward direction, downward direction, where it is the condition zone, all these things, technical analysis will clearly throw out. You watch for those signals, and then I have briefly referred to those signals in the book, but at a very fundamental level, because technical analysis is a very large topic. If we go into that, that alone will be a book. So my intention was different. So I only had a generic mention of the technical analysis in the book. So that gives you very clear indications. All these moving averages and Bollinger Bands and all these things will give you very clear signals. When is the best time to get out of the market, when is the time to enter. I would not like to go into specific tools of analysis at this moment.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
As a token of our love and appreciation, I request our Dean, Dr. Abraham Lele, to present a memento to our guest of honor. And I request everybody to give a standing ovation. Thank you, sir. Now I request Deepak, first semester MBA, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, first, I want to thank the Almighty God for making this event successful, and I am very pleased to be this such awesome faculty, sir. Good afternoon, sir. The characters of intellectuals, the dignitaries on the dais, I deem it a great pleasure and privilege to thank this honored and learned man for making this event a very memorable. I am so honored to thank the chief guest, the former TMA president, the former CSP chairman, the chairman and the MD of PCML, and a very successful author, Mr. CJTS Andram. For sparing his valuable time and by transferring your immense knowledge and also motivating us by your incomparable wisdom. Now, I wholeheartedly take this opportunity to thank the director of the Elims Group of Institution, the young, energetic, the smart and inspiring CEO, Engineer Jinu Pensa, for giving us this opportunity to meet a famous personality. Thank you, sir. It is a privilege for me to thank our beloved director, the person worthy to be praised, a veteran professor, a well-learned humble man, our strong and motivator, who put his signature wherever he goes. The present president of the TMA, Christian Management Association. We are very lucky to have you, sir. Once again, thank you, sir. With an immense pleasure, I take the advantage of thanking our Dean, Dr. Abraham B. Mendel, setting up a college institution, and hard worker, an ocean of vast knowledge, a man of patience, a well-experienced man. Thank you for honoring this occasion, sir. I take this opportunity to thank the young, smart TMA student chapter convener, CM and for blessing this event with your presence. It was wonderful experience to have you as enhancing the charm of the event. Let me thank our loving principal, Dr. Andres Josa, a well-experienced man, the backbone of the MBA department. A person with a humble heart who tries to unite children everywhere. Thank you, sir. I thank Mr. Captain Sheila ma'am for having her presence. And CMA Madhu sir for having your presence. Thank you. I thank Dr. Devi sir for having his presence for handling our program. Thank you, sir. Let us not forget the teachers, the foundation holders, the visionaries, the molders of a future. Thank you, teachers. And I take pleasure in thanking each and everyone who gathered here in front of me. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak. The session is officially entered. Since it's time to thank each one of you for sparing your valuable time to be here with us. I request Parvati Priya, Srinima, Lakshmi and Anjali for the national anthem.
जनगण अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Sir,